a 2-minute delay. I actually kind of lost track of time. I am tired. I slept at 3 a.m. to finish the video. But I felt like we ranted a lot yesterday in the streams. And I think today we need to talk about it in a more rational way and go through a lot of the reasons why Berhalter has to go. And we're also not going to let the players off the hook today. There's a lot that's on the players, a lot. And we love the players. We want them to be successful, but they have to be called out too. They have to be called out. We can bash Berhalter all you want, and Berhalter has to leave. These players will stay. They're here to stay, and I wish them the best, and I hope they're successful with the national team. But they're not going to be left off the hook today. Some media members, too. I want to talk about that. How the media members, and I've mentioned them by name on the 7 Things We Learned episode that we released earlier today, and I'll mention them again. I heard shit for years, man. I heard shit for years just to see all of them turn right now against GREGG. And you know what? I am fine with it. We need everyone to turn against it so the Federation takes action. But at the end of the day, how about admit that you were wrong? How about people not go on Twitter praising Alexi Lalas? I'm going to go through his tweets here soon. That he is like calling out the U.S. men's national team coach now, praising him, freaking praising him. It's like, Alexi, thank you for speaking out now. Little too late, but not too late, but not too late. The World Cup is still 2 years away. But I heard shit for so long, and we kept saying eventually this is going to implode, and it did. The United States men's national team was the first host nation in Copa America history to get grouped in a weak group. We had Uruguay, really good team, tremendous team, and then 2 weak teams, Panama and Bolivia. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Bolivia is the worst team in the competition. Panama, one of the worst. I don't care if you're going to say, oh, you can't disrespect. I'm sorry. At home, should not be losing to Panama. And that's when we're going to criticize the players too because of Tim Weah's idiotic move. There's a lot of blame on the players, and we're going to go through that. But let's start with this. They want to keep GREGG Berhalter. They want to keep him, right? We don't know yet, actually. Some people are saying they want to. I talked to someone that talks to the higher-ups in U.S. soccer, and what this guy said was that there's no decision. Anyone that says that Berhalter is going to stay. Anyone that says that Berhalter is going to leave, they don't know. U.S. soccer has not made a decision. Right now, as incredible as it is, it's still 50-50. It's still 50-50. Believe it or not. But this is GREGG Berhalter's, and thank you very much, Justin Moran, for posting it. His handle, I'll make it show it's Kick Swish. Make sure to follow him. Good work from him here. He did GREGG Berhalter's record against top 30 opponents based on the ELO ranking at the time of the game. So that's fair. That's fair. There are some really good teams here. There are some teams that are not so good, like Mexico. And when you look at what Justin posted, I mean, you guys can visually look at that. There's a lot of red. There's a lot of red. There's like blood everywhere right there. It's very red. There's a lot of losses when Berhalter doesn't play a small Caribbean island, when he plays above average or good opponents. Berhalter's record against the top 30 is 6 wins, 8 draws, and 10 losses in 24 games. I'm going to say that again because I just counted it for you. 6 wins, 8 draws, and 10 losses in 24 games against teams that are ranked top 30 based on the ELO ranking. And keep in mind, 4 of those wins, 6 wins, 4 of those wins are against this horrendous Mexican national team that probably shouldn't be ranked top 30. As a matter of fact, under Berhalter, we shouldn't be ranked top 30 either. We just lost to Panama. Beat Bolivia just 2-0. Lost to Uruguay. Got destroyed by Colombia. Tied a Brazilian side that also tied Costa Rica a week later. 4 of those wins. So if you remove Mexico, this same Mexico that got grouped in the World Cup and grouped in the Copa America, this mediocre, or not even mediocre, Mexico's not even mediocre anymore. They're terrible. He won 2 games out of 20. That's a 10% win percentage. 2 games out of 20 against top 30 ranked nations. And guess what? You know what teams he defeated? He defeated Ecuador in 2019 in a friendly. And trust me, Ecuador was not as good as they are these days. Like back then, Moises Caicedo wasn't playing yet. Incapie probably wasn't in that team. I don't even know if Estupinan was there. I don't remember that game that much. He defeated 1-0 Ecuador. And I'm 99% sure that game was at home, if I'm not mistaken. If my memory doesn't fail me. And the other win he has is a 1-0 win against fucking Iran in the World Cup. Iran. That's it. When he faced top 30 nations, he could only beat a weaker Ecuador side. Ecuador has improved a lot. Iran and Mexico. That's it. That's it. And they're saying, wasn't that Ecuador game Camp Cupcake? I don't think so. I don't think it was Camp Cupcake. I don't think the Ecuador one was Camp Cupcake. So you guys got the point there, right? You got the point of what I meant there. Now let's go through Berhalter's era ever since he returned. So this guy's been in charge of the U.S. men's national team since 2019. He took 6 months off because he was being investigated for kicking his wife or girlfriend at the time in the 90s. The investigation found out that he didn't ever do anything like that again, and then he was rehired. So once he was rehired, he kicked off with like 2 bizarre friendlies against Uzbekistan and Oman, which half of America didn't even know they were countries until we played them, if the U.S. men's national team. And half of America probably still doesn't know that they're countries. Uzbekistan was 3-0, and if I'm not mistaken, we kind of scored most of the goals towards the end of the game. I don't remember too much. I remember it was a very bad game from us, like for the most part. It was a very bad game. But Berhalter was back. He defeated Uzbekistan 3-0. He defeated Oman 4-0. 4-0. At home. Good for him. Good for him. Does this mean anything? No, clearly not. By the way, all the super chats, I will go through them towards the end of the stream. Okay, so if you send a super chat now, I'll go through it at the end of the stream. And if you want to send a super chat, you can send it towards the end. I don't want to lose my train of thought here. My focus of the stream is Berhalter right now, and I'll go through the super chats later on. And then he played Germany. 3-1 loss at home. We played in Connecticut. We lost 3-1 to Germany. First half, the U.S. did okay. Second half, Nagelsmann made adjustments, and he ate Berhalter alive. And then we played Ghana, which was a 4-0 win. A good win right there. Got to praise it. Good win. Obviously, some people are going to say, we can question how much Ghana cared. Sure, you can do that, and it was a friendly. But it's still a 4-0 win against a decent national team. They've seen better teams in the past, Ghana, but it's still a 4-0 win. Congratulations there. After that, we played Trinidad and Tobago at home in Austin. I went to that game in Austin, Texas. It was horrible. We scored all 3 goals in the last 8 minutes of the game. All 3 goals in the last 8 minutes of the game. It was horrible. We played man up for most of that game. I would say probably 60 minutes. And again, you guys can go fact check me because I'm not looking up the exact numbers right now. This is a live stream. This is not a video. I will be doing a video where I break down which coaches we could hire, which we should hire, and why Berhalter has to be fired right now. He has to go. He can't be here. This guy cannot be in charge of the national team anymore. The team is literally regressing under him. It was bad before, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse. And then now we defeat them 3-0. So if you look at this result with no context, like, we beat Trinidad and Tobago 3-0 at home. It's not that bad. True. The context matters there, and it was horrible. And then we go to play away, and we lose to Trinidad 2-1. And then we can add the context, too. Let's be fair to Greg. Serginho Dest did something really stupid. But if you remember that game, his in-game management was terrible. We were playing with 2 strikers up top, Ricardo Pepi and Balogun. When Dest got a red, instead of removing one of the forwards and keeping the midfield as it is to hold possession, right, not invite the opponent to attack you, and also, like, the midfield was complete. They were able to bypass our midfield with ease. He took out Gio Reyna. And then he put, I believe, Joe Scally. Why? And then Trinidad scored. Everything got hit the fan. Then this guy has no feel for the game. Has no feel for the game. And the game against Uruguay yesterday, we're going to talk about that very soon. The U.S. didn't play that bad because Uruguay's a tough opponent. But at the same time, we're going to talk about certain things that Greg did in the game. This guy has no feel for the game. I don't give a shit if he was a former player. You can be a former player and not fully understand the game. It's incredible how he doesn't have a feel for it. He doesn't understand what to do in the middle of the game, in the heat of the moment. Him telling the result of the Panama, we're going to go through that later, telling the players the result of the Panama game in the middle of a dangerous set piece for Uruguay, which Uruguay scored, that alone should get him fired. What the heck is wrong with you? You stupid, idiotic thing. We'll go through that in a second. Then we lose to Trinidad and Tobago. Well, at least he lost to two countries, right? It would have been worse if he lost only to Trinidad. He lost to Trinidad and Tobago, so it's tough when you're playing two countries. He lost to Slovenia in Camp Cupcake. That one, I'll give Greg a break. I'll give Greg a break on that one. Who cares? And then this is another misleading one. United States versus Jamaica. 3-1 in the Nations League semifinals. If you look at it just like that, it's fine, right? But let's put the context of it. We were down 1-0 to Jamaica the entire game. They scored in like the first 2 minutes or so, and we were down 1-0 the whole game, and we relied on a late own goal from Jamaica to take it to extra time. He had a sub in Gio to save his ass, and Gio Reyna got 2 assists, Haji Wright got 2 goals, and we defeated Jamaica. It was just baffling to me. And some of you are going to say, the players just suck. The players are overhyped. To that, I'll say what I've been saying multiple times. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. There's only one way to find out. This team needs a coach that can make the players uncomfortable, get the best out of them, keep them motivated, make them like actually fight for this team and not be comfortable. If you suck, if you're fat, if you're overweight, if you're not in shape, if you're playing poorly, you get benched. There's no leadership council. The coach is in charge. You are the players. You play for the coach. You play for your country. You don't have to be buddies with the coach. You don't even have to like the coach. You have to want to play for your country. You have to want to play for your country, and the coach has to be respected. He has to be a true leader. Greg Berhalter is not respected. He's buddies with the players. Some of the players don't even like him, okay, just to make that clear. It's ridiculous of what's going on. And then in the final, we beat Mexico 2-0. Does that even matter anymore? Have we not learned how bad this Mexican generation is? Mexico always gets out of their group in the World Cup. They got grouped in 2022. Mexico usually also, when they play the Copa America, they usually do fairly well. They got grouped in the Copa America as well. Beating Mexico at this point, it should be the bare minimum standard at home. The bare minimum. Good for him. He got the job done. But are we going to continue to praise him for that? We're going to continue to say he dominated our rival. Our rival is ass right now. Complete ass. And under Berhalter, so are we. After that, we play our first friendly of the summer. He gets demolished by Colombia, 5-1. 5-1 against Colombia. And then if we go to the other set of games, 1-1 draw with Brazil, the same Brazil that tied Costa Rica a week later. I thought the draw of Brazil was good, but this was also the Brazilian side that relied on a last-minute goal from Endrick to win a friendly a couple of days prior. And then 1 week later, Brazil tied Costa Rica 0-0. Sure, Brazil now seems to have found their mojo, defeating Paraguay 4-1. We'll see. And then Greg Berhalter defeats Bolivia 2-0. And a Bolivian side that's it's the worst team in this competition. Bolivia has, in the past like 31 games in the Copa America, Bolivia has 1 win. They're on like a 12-game losing streak in Copa America. Beating them 2-0 was quite literally the bare minimum. And then he loses to Panama 2-1 at home. And Tim Weah, with that weak-ass punch that he had, definitely was the main reason we lost that game. But again, there's never a plan with Berhalter. This team never has a plan for adversity. It's just like the game against the Netherlands in the World Cup. They get punched in the face, and it's over. They're lost. They don't know what to do. It's always like that with Berhalter. This team gets punched in the face, and they have no reaction. No reaction. That's on him. That's on the players too. I do think, I talked about this in the 7 Things We Learned video, these players are soft until proven otherwise. I really want to root for them. I really wish them the best. And I really want to love these players and have them as as like idols for US soccer, right? That kids look up to, and strong mentality, that grit, that fight, that hunger in them. But I just don't see it with them. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Maybe we need a coach that will get that out of them. And again, if we get a good coach and we continue to perform in a mediocre way, we continue to get mediocre to poor results, then I'll just say, hey, maybe it's a little bit on us. We overhyped this generation. Until then, I'm going to choose to believe that these players are good enough. I am going to choose to continue to believe in them. They're going to be criticized. I'm not a fanboy. They're going to get criticized, and I'm getting to that very soon. But once again, it is what it is. The record, so ever since Berhalter returned, his record is 7 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw. So he got 7 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw. But keep in mind, the wins, one is that Jamaica 3-1 win. I don't know if you count that a win because we technically tied Jamaica. It was in extra time, right? Oman and Uzbekistan, Bolivia, and Mexico. Is that enough? Are we happy? The Federation has to make a decision, man. Matt Crocker has to man up, accept the fact that he made a mistake, and fix this while we have time. It's been terrible. Now let's go through this here. The mentality of this team. That's where I'm going to start calling out the players. Matt Turner said, I see no issue with the direction we're heading. Really, Matt? You don't see an issue? You don't see an issue? Really? We just got grouped in the Copa America at home, first host nation to ever get grouped at home, in a very weak group, a group that will be much tougher in the World Cup. And you see no issue with the direction we're heading? Like, no, not a tiny little bit. Not a tiny little bit, like no little issue. What is this? This is embarrassing. This is a disgrace. This is a soft mentality. And here's the thing. Maybe our players are just soft. So that means we need a coach to toughen them up. Some of them. They need to toughen up. This is a ridiculous statement. And anyone that says, what is he supposed to say? Criticize the coach. Well, if you're going to say stupid shit like that, just don't say anything. Just don't say anything. Or just be blunt about it and be honest. It's like, don't criticize Greg. You don't have to do that as a player. You don't have to criticize Greg. But how about some accountability? Just say, this is not good enough. We're not going in the right direction. We need to improve. We need to do better. We need to be better. We have to regroup, talk, and do better. Saying that there's no issue with the direction we're heading is complete and utter nonsense. This is insane. It drives me fucking nuts. But it's not just that. There's more. Let's talk about Christian Pulisic, the player that continuously endorsed Greg Berhalter multiple times, a player that is very my brain's not functioning anymore. A player that's very successful in Europe, a very talented player, a great player, in my opinion, the most talented and best player the U.S. men's national team ever had. Better than Landon, better than Dempsey, but now with the same mentality as those players. Mentally, Pulisic is giving me vibes that he is soft. And I hate to say it. This is literally one of my favorite players. I root for him week in, week out when he's playing for Milan. I defended him when he was at Chelsea online as much as I could for whatever that's worth. And I'll continue to believe that he will lead us to some type of glory in 2026. But until proven otherwise, he's soft. So he said it before when we lost to Panama, he said we had to play the game of our lives against Uruguay, which I fully agreed with him. Yes, play the game of your lives. And then he takes it back. He's like, thinking back, I don't think that's true. I don't think we have to play the best game of our lives. I was a bit too emotional. Brother, you guys should have been playing the game of your lives. Maybe we would have won. Maybe you shouldn't have endorsed Berhalter. Maybe you shouldn't have said that you'd run through a brick wall for him. Where was that? Did we hit the wall too hard? Maybe the wall was made out of steel. That's worse than bricks, right? Maybe it was made out of titanium. That was a tough wall to run through. Very tough wall. It might have hurt, might have broken his nose or something. And then Pulisic, after the game, I don't know if you guys saw the scene where he went to shake the ref's hand and the ref didn't shake his hand. Well, guess what? Before he did that to the ref, what he did, and Fox for some reason didn't post that clip, he told the refs to go celebrate with the Uruguayan players. Okay, you want to say that? Say it. I honestly don't have that much of an issue with that. It's a bit weak because you're trying to blame the ref for your loss. And I mean, even if the goal was disallowed, we still wouldn't have qualified. We didn't score a goal. But here's the thing. If you are going to tell the refs to go celebrate with the Uruguayan players, don't be fucking awkward and own up to it. What do I mean by that? You told them to go celebrate the Uruguayan players? Say that, turn your back, and who gives a shit? Don't even go talk to the refs. Tell them, go celebrate and bye. He said that, and then he awkwardly walked to them and went to shake their hands? What is going on? I agree that the ref was ass, and if he wants to complain, that's fine. He wants to tell them to go celebrate with the Uruguayan players? Do it. But why are you going to go shake his hand after? What is going on with your mindset? Like, what is that? So that's another one. Christian Pulisic. Now let's talk about Let's talk about actually Weston McKennie here for a second. Let's talk about Weston McKennie because people are getting a bit angry. Not a bit angry. It was like a few accounts that got angry because I pointed out that McKennie was overweight. I made a joke, right, on Twitter. What happened on Twitter, someone, I can't remember who posted. Someone posted on Twitter, Weston McKennie said the players would run through a brick wall for GREGG BERHALTER. So then I just quote tweeted and said, would they also go on a diet for Berhalter? Because Weston McKennie is a fantastic player. He's a really good player. And we've seen Weston McKennie at his best. He's a really, really good player. Anyone that tries to convince me that he's not overweight is just being disingenuous, is just lying, is literally just lying. It felt like this guy was on vacation for the Copa America. I've watched Weston McKennie week in, week out for the past like 4 years. I've seen Weston at his best. I've seen him at his worst. I've defended him against Leeds fans, especially the disgusting racial abuse he's received from Leeds fans, which was truly disgusting. But he's overweight right now. He came into this tournament overweight. And some people are saying, oh, he covered a lot of ground. Well, if you go back to the Brazil-Cameroon game in the World Cup, the player that ran the most was the 40-year-old Dani Alves. You can jog around the field and run here and there and just you cover more ground, you ran more. McKennie was slower, less agile, less explosive than the regular Weston McKennie that we're accustomed to seeing. And that might be one of the reasons why Juventus wants to get rid of him, even though he had the best season of his career. He was really good for Juventus this season. He truly was. But they want to get rid of him, apparently. And here it is. Brian Scarietta is saying, in particular, Weston McKennie was outworked in duels, his 3 games total. He had 4 out of 18 ground duels. He lost almost all. He lost 14 ground duels out of 18. And then he lost 10 out of 12 aerial duels. And these are things that McKennie is usually an electric player, dynamic. He wins his duels. He wins a lot of aerial duels too. He scores headers. He wasn't getting outworked and out-hustled. He hustled. I saw McKennie trying. But again, at this level, if you're a little overweight, it's tough, man. These are professional athletes. These are the best athletes in the world. It's tough. If you're not in peak shape, it's difficult, man. I mean, we all of you, I'm assuming most of you have played sports in your life, even at a much lower level or in an amateur level. When you play against a team that is in far better shape than you, that are faster, stronger, lighter than you, it's tough, man. Now imagine at this level. So yes, we have to call it out. This is not fat shaming. This is not fat shaming. He's a professional athlete. He's a professional athlete, and he needs to be in shape. Okay? That's what it is. Now I want to go on and talk about another thing here. GREGG BERHALTER. Let's go through this here. I'm almost done here, and I'll go through the Super Chats very soon. I'm going to go through the Super Chats very soon. And thank you, USMNT only, for sharing this too. GREGG BERHALTER told the U.S. men's national team players on the pitch that the score of the Panama game was 1-1 in the 65th minute. Uruguay scored and went up 1-0 on the U.S. men's national team less than 30 seconds later. So here's the picture. When it was 0-0, 64-53, Uruguay had a dangerous set piece. And this imbecile, GREGG BERHALTER, is taking away the focus of our players, telling them during a set piece that we are defending the result of another game. The game was 0-0 at the time. It was 0-0. We just needed a goal to advance. We needed one goal. Worry about your fucking game. What is this loser's mentality? Why are you telling? Look at this. Look at the other picture. Uruguay literally scored right after because he was telling the U.S. men's national team players, literally in a dangerous free kick for Uruguay, which is where they scored, the score of the other game, shifting their focus away from this one, pretty much saying, guys, it's 1-1. We qualify with the 0-0. He's probably just going to bunker and sit back. Fucking Muppet. Idiot. I'm sorry. I'm lost for words here. This should be a fireable offense right there. Remember, this is the same idiot that took a selfie with fans in the middle of a game. Do you guys see that? Am I being too harsh? Am I being too harsh? Okay, let's go to the next one here. What else was I going to talk about? I was going to talk about the media members that continuously bashed U.S. men's national team fans, downplayed the hiring of Berhalter. I've been personally called by Alexi Lalas a moron on his show. I think he also said soulless. I might be paraphrasing, but he definitely called me a moron. I heard that. I've been called toxic. I had Jimmy Conrad once question me when I criticized like Chris Armas or something. I had Jimmy Conrad ask if I even care about the USMNT abroad, the guys abroad, even though I freaking cover it for almost no money every weekend. I literally give my weekend away to cover them. I've had Jimmy Conrad imply and call me a hot take merchant. I can't remember what show it was. I've had Heath Pierce also be a piece of crap on Twitter. We've had multiple media members call us toxic. And I don't have time to go through every single one of them. But I want to show a little bit of what propaganda looks like. This was back in November of 2022. And I think this was when Berhalter got out of the group in the World Cup, which again should be the bare minimum. It should be the bare minimum. And Alexi Lalas here said, U.S. coach GREGG Berhalter has taken plenty of crap and criticism, some of it fair. All of it was fair. And we saw the self-implosion live. We knew what happened in the Copa America now. We knew it was going to happen at some point. My biggest fear was that it would happen in the World Cup in 2026. That's why I was always so angry and passionate and complaining about it. I was worried it would happen in the 2026 World Cup, which would be horrendous for any soccer fan in this country. And then Alexi Lalas go, but his USMNT won the Gold Cup and Nations League. That doesn't mean shit. These days. And then he said, dominated Mexico. I love this one. Dominated Mexico. So that's the standard? A team that got grouped in the World Cup and grouped in the Copa America? The other one, he's praising qualified for the World Cup. Really? With the players he has, qualifying to the World Cup? Like, when did we start praising people for doing the bare minimum? When have we become this soft as a nation? When have we become this soft? And it's funny because it'll go both ways, like from the political spectrum, right? It'll go from liberals and conservatives. Like, for example, Alexi Lalas is a conservative, and liberals will sound soft. And then look at this, a conservative sounding soft too. It's just the same thing. This guy, and I'm just going to say it, like, it's a clown show. It's ridiculous. It's hard to take it seriously. And then Alexi Lalas now is criticizing Greg now. And then people are praising him for criticizing Greg now. I'll say what? I'll say thank you, Alexi, for finally criticizing Greg and saying that he has to go. Thank you for that. But I'm not going to praise you for it. I'm not going to praise you for it. And then he says, went undefeated in the group. Oh, good for him. Got a draw with Southgate. We're watching England in the Euros. We'll see that's not a massive accomplishment. And then posted 2 shutouts and 1 goal against PK. Throw some respect on the dude. Well, Alexi, this is what I'm talking about, the propaganda that they ran for years. And they kept like shitting on me, on Pete too. And the fans. We had to hear shit for years, for many, many years. It was very tiring. And last but not least, for anyone that wants to know what can we do, you guys can continue to complain on Twitter. You guys can continue to complain on social media, put pressure on the federation, put pressure on the sponsors. I put this tweet out yesterday just saying Volkswagen, Truly, Allstate, AT&T, Nike, they're all sponsors. Tell them that it's hurting their brand to sponsor this team. Hit him where it hurts. Hit him where it hurts. And the sponsors will put pressure on the federation. Everyone will put pressure on the federation. That is what has to be done. That is what has to be done. And everyone, or Men in Blazers bots right there in the chat, you guys can keep talking all you want for people to go to Men in Blazers. Do that in the chat. Keep doing your propaganda in the chat. It's getting a little annoying. You want to go watch Men in Blazers, they're live. Go watch it. You guys don't have to go put their propaganda here in the chat. I don't want to hear it from any one of the media members. I don't want to hear it. Okay? But last but not least, that's what you guys can do to protest. You can go tag the sponsors, and there you go. There you go. That will make them either leave the national team if it's hurting their brand, or they will maybe just press the federation to get a new coach, get excitement back up. That is what it is. Okay, and then now I'm going to go through the super chats here. Sorry that I didn't want to go through any through the stream. I didn't want to lose my train of thought. If you guys just made it here, make sure to drop a like in this video. If you just arrived, go back. I went through a lot of different stats and things that happened throughout the Berhalter era of why he shouldn't be in charge. And Joseph Gaddis is the first super chat I'm going to read. He said, I rewatched your debate with Joe Lowry. Dude should not be covering soccer. I lost brain cells too while listening to him. I can't believe the stuff he says. Yes, I brought Joe Lowry to expose him, and it worked. I gave him the mic for 1 hour. I think it was an hour or close to that. And he couldn't elaborate an argument. His main take is that coaching doesn't matter. But now apparently he's asking for Berhalter to be fired. So which one is it? Which one is it? Does coaching matter? Does coaching not matter? You tell me. Like, I think it matters a lot. A lot. Like, literally a lot. But again, that's what I did. I brought him along. And then Matthew is saying, what are you hearing? Will Greg be out? So, guys, what I heard, and I heard from guys that know, like JT Batts and know the guys in the federation, what they said is they're hiding a lot of the information, the main guys right there. What I heard is that Matt Crocker has the final say. So at the end of the day, they will talk, but Matt Crocker is the one that has the final say. On top of that, they have made no decision. But JT Batson refused to confirm that Greg Berhalter will stay. He refused to confirm. That's what I heard. Okay, so anyone that says that, oh, Greg is going to stay or Greg is going to leave, it's bullshit. No one knows. Well, maybe Matt Crocker, JT Batson, those guys know, and Sidney Parlow-Cone, but no one knows. They're keeping it a secret, essentially, so no one knows. Frank Castro is saying this review is meant to get to the end of July when NFL training camp starts, so people are distracted when they announce Berhalter staying. I hope not. I hope not. I hope this guy's gone by the time the Olympics starts. I hope he's gone by then. Joe Schmo saying, full international coach search, keep BJ around. I heard BJ's going to MLS. I heard BJ's leaving. That's one thing I heard too. If you guys want to know more news, I heard BJ Callahan is leaving. By the way, if you guys haven't already, make sure to hit the like button in the stream. It's a great way to help the channel. Instead of sending super chats, you can just hit the like, get it to 500, 600 likes. That's the best way you can support me, or join our Patreon. Tony's saying, Greg Berhalter is a bullshit artist. Yeah, I need therapy. He's just a fraud. That is the truth. He's not a good coach. S27 saying, in my opinion, the worst ever Greg Berhalter game was Japan. Thoughts? Panama. Well, Panama Trinidad away. Japan, he put a shit lineup, but in-game management, the loss to Panama and the loss to Trinidad away, where we have no plan, no response when we are down a man, those were his worst in-game management games. And also the one we lost to Panama away in World Cup qualifying. Remember that? That was the worst starting 11 in the history of the Berhalter era that he put out. GhostCard21 saying, keep my mouth out of your effing mouth. Greg for 2026. M. Stewart is saying, should we start a GoFundMe for Greg's buyout? No, U.S. Soccer has money. They have money and they can pay it. They can pay it. And Greg Berhalter, I know he's not going to do it because he's going to want to take the money, but he should have some shame and not take all the money. Have some shame. Resign. He should resign. Joseph Korshran is saying, as an English American, it confuses me how the media here pushes the narrative that soccer isn't taken seriously and will prove everyone wrong. Then they'll pull this crap. The irony is clear. Exactly. Anyone that comes from a soccer culture in a different country, whether it is Europe, South America, I've seen it in South America and Brazil. The soccer media in the United States is a disgrace, a joke. They should not even be covering the sport, most of them. They're covered by shills, nerds, and players that essentially has sold out to push a narrative. That is our media. Allegedly. Gotta say allegedly, right? Gotta say allegedly. What's the rage saying? Do the players see the U.S. men's national team as a fun break for their club? And how do we change that? If so, you change it by changing the coach. I do think you have a point there. I don't think they entirely see it as a fun break, but a lot of them do. Or that's the vibe at least. How do you change that? You get a coach that demands more. You get a coach that they're not comfortable with. You get a coach that demands them to be in shape, not overweight, like a specific player I already talked about. That's what they need. They don't need a friend. Ron Blankert, thank you for the super chat, Ron. Joe Schmogan, Greg Berhalter is a politician, will say anything to keep his job, takes no accountability, deny. We will never get better with him. Yeah, I mean, he is as incompetent as 99% of the politicians in this country. So maybe he should run for Congress. Maybe he should move to Washington, D.C., just live there. Seems like he fits in with the politicians. Saint Sears saying Lala's and company jockeying for a position in the U.S. Soccer Federation. I don't think Lala's has a comfy job with Fox. I don't think he wants a job with the Federation, but they do all shill for the Federation. It's just ridiculous. Fear Hype is saying the media wants us all to focus on the players as soft. Same thing as the World Cup in 2022. The fact is a top-class manager will make the mentality change or the players would not play. Berhalter out. I do agree that they're soft, though. It's up to the players to prove that they're not soft. It's up to the players to prove otherwise. I agree with that. But like you said, the fact is we need a top-class coach that will change that mentality. But I agree with the media. The players are soft. As of now, yes. What's the rage? Thank you for the super chat again. Jack Hiltz is saying, it's a problem with the whole system. Soccer players in the United States are predominantly pay-to-play, rich, soft kids. Those same kids are now running our media federation, soft fans, and coaching staff. Jack, what you're saying, there's a lot of truth to it. There's a lot of truth to what you're saying. I don't have much to disagree with there. Let me see if I didn't miss. There's more. Okay. Ron is saying, on the Federation, the U.S. women's national team had a disaster World Cup last year, and we didn't just hire the next coach in line, but hire the best coach they could. Isn't that incredible? The same Federation that hired Emma Hayes, a brilliant coach for the women's national team, the same Federation hired Berhalter twice. Isn't that insane? The same Federation that brought Emma Hayes to the U.S. women's national team. Bling Bling Boy is saying, I think it's more effective if we all make contact and protest the boycott at the front of the Federation to fire Berhalter. Yeah, but listen, the Federation is in Chicago. It costs money to travel. People work. I don't think that's something that would actually be doable. It's not feasible. So what we can do is, like I showed you my Twitter, tag the sponsors, complain, show them that it's hurting their brand. And listen, I talked about this in the 7 things we learned. Myself, as a content creator, and Dustin in the channel, we live off sponsorships. And obviously your support through super chats and all that. Me shitting on those sponsors closes a lot of doors when I'm shitting on those sponsors. but we don't care. What is right is right. Tag those sponsors, show them it's hurting their brand. I'll do it again. I don't care if that closes the door. We'll probably lose money with that. Don't know if they'll ever sponsor us anyway, but it closes doors. So it is what it is. But that's what we can do as soccer fans in America right now. Can we get rid of Matt Crocker? I don't know. I guess JT Batson would be the one to get rid of what's his name? Get rid of Matt Crocker. It would have to be JT Batson or Cindy Parlow Cone. Perry is saying US won't be great until we integrate the Latino player fully into the system. That is part of it. I don't think it's Perry, I don't think it's a racial thing. It doesn't matter what race the player is playing the national team. I think what you are trying to say is we won't be great until the national team, and not the national team, but just soccer in America is more inclusive. The pay-to-play system essentially kicks out people that don't have the money to pay for it. So you miss a lot of talent. And one of the communities that is definitely hurt the most is the Latino community, for sure. For sure. But it's not that we need more Latino players. That's not going to be what changes the national team. We need soccer in this country to be more inclusive at the grassroots level, and we'll develop better players and players with a better mentality, winners, not spoiled brats. Miguel is saying Greg Berhalter has taken a good team and made them look mediocre. This is why he needs to go. We need someone who will use every ounce of the talent the team wins. The team needs to win. You are right. We need a coach that can maximize this talent. We have talented players, but we are not the best team in the world. We're far from the best team in the world. We're not even a top 10 team in the world, even with a good coach. So if we don't have a coach that can maximize these players' talent, we're going to suck in 2026. That's the truth. We're underdogs. We're underdogs. That is the truth. Burnt Toast is saying, on top of pressuring sponsors, anyone that wants Greg Berhalter gone should DM all the players and socials asking for it. Obviously, U.S. Soccer listens to the players. I wouldn't do that. I would. The players see social media. I would leave them alone. I wouldn't bother them. Let them be. They see the social media. Pressure the federation. The players see it already. I am not in favor of that. I'm not in favor of DMing the players or even harassing them in their posts, in my opinion. You guys do whatever you want. That one I'm not for. They see the tweets and everything. So if you do that, they're already seeing it. You don't have to go DM them or put comments on their pictures. I would not do that. Kevin Campbell saying, why does U.S. Soccer seem allergic to hiring a proven non-American coach, somebody that has shown that they can really win at the World Cup level? I could talk about this for hours. They definitely don't want an outsider. They definitely don't want someone that will criticize the establishment. What you want right there is a coach that will demand more, that will criticize the establishment, the higher-ups, the players. They don't seem to want that. GhostCard21 said, don't worry, United States, Daddy Greg will make you love me. No. GSD93, is Klopp an actual option if Greg is gone? I would give that a 0.1% chance. I wouldn't say 0%. I can't never say never, but I would say it's a 0.1% chance. I doubt Klopp will take the national team. Brian Court saying friendlies Copa result if Jesse was in charge. I think we would still lose to Colombia if Jesse was in charge. We would lose or tie with Brazil too, but probably would get out of our group and lose to Colombia in the quarterfinals. I don't think Jesse Marsch would have been the ideal hire anyway. I don't think he would have been the ideal hire. We're going to make a video this Friday going through 5 coaches that I think should be the national team coach, the U.S. men's national team. So I'll break that down for you all. But I don't think we'd do that much better if Jesse Marsch. We'd get out of our group. I think we would have gotten out of our group. Cubo Maker saying the corruption is equal to politicians in our country. Money speaks the loudest and no accountability from the media until it's too late. Yes, that is exactly what the media does. David Addison saying, I agree with what you said about Perry's comment. In addition to pay to play, it just feels very insular from the front office to places they scout. Yeah, it's what I was talking about. It's not about having more of this race or that race in the national team. It's about making the sport more inclusive at the grassroots levels and accessible to all communities, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whatever it is. Have everyone be inclusive. But yes, he was right that the Latino community definitely feels it the most alongside with other communities. Music friend is saying, if Greg cares about U.S. soccer and has any self-respect, he'll give his resignation instead of USSF having to fire him. That is the last thing I'm going to say before I go. I will make the video on Friday of the coaches I think should replace GREGG BERHALTER. GREGG BERHALTER, be a man, be a patriot, have some shame, love your country, and resign. Resign. You have failed your country. Don't make things worse. Resign. I'm sure he's not going to watch this. I'm sure this is not going to get to him. But that's my request. Just leave. Just leave. Last one, William Graves is saying the U.S. Soccer Federation and MLS do not want outsiders because the outsider will call out MLS just like Jurgen did. So they want to hire a yes man to protect MLS. I think that's part of the motivation. I wouldn't blame it on MLS specifically, but that is definitely part of the issue. That is part of the issue of why they wouldn't hire. One of the many issues. But everyone, thank you very much. Everyone that tuned in the stream. Don't forget to drop a like right now. It helps get to more people. And when the stream is over, drop a comment in the stream. Who would you want to coach the U.S. men's national team? Not in the live chat, but in the actual video, because that helps the YouTube algorithm. And it can also help me with my video. I can get suggestions, and I'll look into the coach. And that's all. I'm going to end the stream here. I'm going to work on videos. We have a live stream later today for the Brazil. And if you want to support the channel, a great way to support the channel is by joining our Patreon. The link to the Patreon is in the description. Hopefully Berhalter's fired earlier, sooner rather than later. Okay, everyone, I'll see you guys tonight for the Brazil versus Colombia stream. And we'll be making a Copa America prediction video for the quarterfinals, and the who should replace GREGG BERHALTER video will be out on Friday. Okay, have a great day. Bye-bye.